Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Extension Huddle for November 10th, 2022. Glad to see so many folks on today. I know we have some others joining us here very shortly as well. We have a packed agenda, as you would expect, right, for today. So a number of things that we'll be touching on throughout the next hour or so. We are recording Huddle, as we always do, and we ask that you post your questions in the chat box or comments or relative to the agenda items or anything else that might be on your mind. We'll keep a close eye on that and address those, respond to those questions throughout the morning. We're going to start out with our years of service recognition. We have a lot of extension professionals who will be recognized for years of service this year. Before I share these, know that there's a couple of disclaimers here, right? These are questions we typically get about years of service. So these are years of service with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So this might include folks who have worked in other units or departments, other mission areas, and now in extension. So they're recognized for all their UNL service. This is only UNL service. So if you worked in a county position and then transitioned to a university position, this is only UNL time. And of course, when there's breaks in service, anyone's guess on how that looks today, and you probably know exactly where you stand in that regard. But having said that, a ton of kiddos to folks who were recognized this year. So these are folks who met this milestone sometime during the year of 2022. So let's start with our 5-year folks. So we'll start out with our Vice Chancellor, Mike Bain. So if you see Mike today, or maybe you want to text him and just congratulate him on his 5-year milestone. We have a few folks in here who may not have exactly extension appointments, but they're very close to extension, and we consider them part of our team. So all of these individuals, thank you. You're just getting started, right? You're just getting started in a great career, which is Nebraska Extension. 10 years. That's these folks are on Mike Reese right here in the Nebraska admin office, and a whole other group of educators, assistants, and specialists that we highly value. 10 years, a decade of Nebraska Extension that you have to share with us and with the people you've served. 15 years, a few more folks. Andre in the food science department, Rob, one of our EZCs. And others that you'll recognize. Again, some of these folks are in academic departments. You may not see these folks every day or realize they have extension appointments, but they do indeed. Move on to 20 years, so Omega in the Grand Island Hall County area, and Rick Funston, a beef specialist based out of the North Platte area, and our ranch as well. So to Omega and Rick, 20 years, 2 decades, a long time. Thank you so much for your service to Nebraska Extension and UNL. I think you expect as you go higher and higher in years of service that the numbers get smaller and smaller, but that's not exactly the case this year. So go to 25 years. So Tracy Anderson right here in Lancaster County, the 4-H coordinator. John Lindquist is a faculty member over in agronomy and horticulture. Becky Voigt works with Rural Prosperity Nebraska, most well known for managing the rural poll, which many of you are well aware of. And then Jim is in the Lancaster County office. And Jim does the IT work for Lancaster County. So been with you now for 25 years already. So 30, a lot of folks with that 30-year mark. So just to touch on a couple of these folks. So Bruce Broderson, many of you probably don't know Bruce, but I can tell you during COVID, when we were doing our saliva-based testing, Bruce was a part of a small team in our veterinary diagnostic center here on campus that was very instrumental in helping us coordinate that effort across the state. Sheila Purden, animal science, poultry area, Colleen, Polk County Extension. Many of you know Fred. Fred is the smiling face you see when you stop by the warehouse to pick up extension materials or drop them off. And then, of course, Kurt Weller is the unit head with food science technology. We're not done yet. So 35 years, you'll recognize all these folks, I think. John Fesh is our horticulture, landscape, environmental educator in our Omaha office. Paul Reed, known specialist in agronomy and horticulture, known for viticulture, has been doing that for really largely responsible for all those vineyards and wineries that you may visit throughout the year. And Nancy Urbanic, an extension assistant in food nutrition and health based in our Omaha office. Congrats to this group. Almost a little over a third of a century of service to UNL. And in this case, I think most of it's all to extension. 40 years, our own Kelly Fehunt in our Platte County office in Columbus. And then Steve Pritchard, close by in Boone County. So two of our veteran extension educators located outstate, 40 years. Congrats to Kelly and Steve. We're still not done. So let's go to 45 years. So Chuck Francis just retired, I believe, from agronomy and horticulture, really known for his sustainable agriculture work that he was a champion of throughout his career. And then Steve Niemeyer, out of our Burwell office, working with the beef team. Congratulations to both Chuck and to Steve. And believe it or not, we are still not done. So we have one more person who most of you will recognize. And this has been a person that's probably helped most of us at some point in our career. And that is Kay Klunt. So Kay Klunt is the administrative assistant for Doug Zaleski at the Eastern Nebraska Research Extension Education Center. Kay Klunt started out in the Seward County Extension Office many years ago, and then transitioned to campus with the Southeast District and to NREC. And so Kay has seen a lot around Nebraska Extension during her 5 decades with us. If you have a question, a historical question, I would call Kay. She likely has the answer or has the files to share with you. So Kay, congratulations on a huge milestone. We're going to keep celebrating here for a moment. You know that we were talking in August about September being Disaster Preparedness Month. And so Sonny Cochran, our interim disaster education coordinator, in partnership with Nebraska Emergency Management Agency, stood up a little contest, a little competition for our county offices. And so to give a status update on that, we have Sonny with us and Josh as well. So Sonny, take it away.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dave. Thanks everybody for being on Huddle. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let Josh talk about this a little bit. Josh, do we have a different screen, Dave? Do we have a second screen?
We do.
Okay. There we go. Hey, Josh, welcome to Extension Huddle. And could you go ahead and explain a little bit here who we've had submit and our judges, please?
All right, thank you guys. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, we had a phenomenal turnout with this competition. Butler, Cherry, Clay, Fillmore, Hall, Holt, Boyd, Lancaster, Platte, and the Dean's office in Lincoln. Really great submissions on everyone's part. And big thank you to our judges, Mark Robinson, Sandra Hobson, and Assistant Director Irv Portis. They were tough judges, but all the people that competed in this competition did really well. Truly blown away.
Okay.
And
the other slide, Dave, you good?
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Yep. So then winners for this competition will be announced on Tuesday at the fall conference dinner. If you ask me though, all of them are winners in my book.
Absolutely. They were great. We had a lot of fun looking at what everybody submitted. And Josh is going to, Josh, and I'm not sure if Chris is coming, but Josh is going to be at fall conference. And we'll have a chance to meet Josh in person and take some photos and announce the winners at that time. We don't have a really good drum roll for you, but maybe we'll come up with something at the awards night for this. But terrific job, everyone. And it is not too late to pull together some kits, especially with winter weather going across the state. And all of those resources are still on the website there below. So thank you, Josh. Thank you for helping in this process. And we can't wait to let everybody know those scores and rankings. It's very close. Just let
All
you know.
right.
Yeah.
We are on the edge of our seats. We can't wait for Tuesday to see the announcement. You know, I was thinking about when this was announced in August, who would have thought over the course between August and November that we would see all of the wildfires, right? Just a whole new world in the disaster space that most of us had not experienced before. So think about those disaster preparedness kits and your strategies in your office. You really have to be prepared for just about anything, right? Because we keep thinking we've seen it all, but I don't think we have. So, thanks.
And I think too, Dave, to remind everyone with this winter weather that's going across the state to check their work and home vehicles for that winter weather kit and get those things all refitted and ready to go.
Time to do that. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Hey, Charlie, this was a happy group. You've been on the road lately. What were you up to in this case?
Thanks, Dave. Yes, I should play a looping soundtrack in the car on the road again. I was just out this past weekend. In the last 4 days, I put on over 1,300 miles, and I know for some of you that's nothing, but we got the chance to go to Halsey to show our appreciation for first responders and firefighters up there. And then Monday through Wednesday, Gentry Barrett and I were out on zones 2 and 4 to visit the county offices to express our appreciation for the local staff on what they do. They're so important to Nebraska Extension. That's why we have such a strong extension system, is because of our strong county presence. We have a presence in all 93 counties. We have 83 county offices. I'm close. I will not get to every single office, I don't think, but I'm in the 70s. I think I was just scanning the map I keep. And so I just want to express my sincere appreciation to everyone out there for all your efforts in the warm reception we've received all the way, all along the trip. I don't want to forget to just to back up a little bit, Dave, as congratulations for the years in service. Dave, I was just curious. I wonder how many centuries of experience we have, not just in those that got awards today because they're on a multiple of 5, but within our system. I wonder just how much experience we have total.
Centuries and centuries.
Centuries and centuries, yes. Okay, so thanks to the offices, and I really appreciate, the sense I get from the offices, everyone is, it's not about me, it's about we. And so we're rolling into fall conference next week. This is a big event for us. I'm expecting everyone to be there. Yep, I sure am. Specialists, educators, all those. And why? Because we're going to be really focusing on program planning. Program planning is really important for us, that not only individual, but what's the collective we, our stakeholders out there. The questions that they're asking is, what is Extension doing for us? And that's the whole reason for the big 3. As we looked about how we communicate collectively, what are we doing? How does it fit? And it all comes back to, it's about we, it's not about me. So again, I'm not going to take much time here. I just want to say, thanks. Every person and every interaction matters. And that's not just with our stakeholders, it's about each other. And we really, the strength of Extension is that we're together, we're working together, we have a common cause. And so if they have anybody has questions, put it in the chat box. I don't want to take up any time here, but thanks a lot, Dave.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Well, the fall conference is upon us, just a few days away. And so, Lisa, what do we need to be thinking about as we prepare for the big week?
Well, good morning, everybody. As Charlie said, next week brings us together around a common cause. And I think that's really how we need to view our opportunity and our participation in fall conference. Who are we? Why are we here? And what's the goal of Nebraska Extension? And fall conference gives us the opportunity to come together. It's the one big time where we really come together to celebrate this, and also this year really plan for the future. And so you've seen our Back to the Future logo that really is helping us think about going back to our program planning that Charlie's talked about, going back to our mission and values, where we are foundation, and then how to meet the demands of the future. And so in your inboxes right now, you should have probably just received an email about fall conference. It just went out. So there's a final reminder, some final reminders there for you. It includes an agenda that you can print or have on in your technology to bring with you to fall conference. It also includes a list of all of our wellness activities and the room assignments for each of those that will take place on Tuesday morning. And then some of the big reminders just for people. I've had a few questions. Don't forget your name tag so you can eat, but so we also know who you are. That's probably most important. If you ordered a new name tag, it will be available at registration. Registration is Tuesday morning from 9 to 10. So pop in during that time to check in, and we will begin promptly in the ballroom at 10:30 with everyone. We have a new employee welcome at 10, but at 10:30, we'd like everybody in their seats ready to begin. The only other thing I'll remind everyone, I've had some people ask, a dress for the occasion is business casual. It's a extension conference in which we come together. So we're gonna come ready to be professional and come together to work in our teams. And you're gonna spend a lot of time in your program planning teams. And I know Dave's gonna talk about that next. So if you have final questions, let us know. And we're excited to see everyone next week.
Thanks, Lisa. Lisa and her team have put a ton of work into this conference. Some really great experiences on tap for us next week. So, as Charlie said, we want everyone who's a part of the extension team that you mentioned to be there. So this is a continuation of our strategic directions process that we've been talking about for several months now. The big three, right? These three big areas that all of our work rolls up into that we talk with stakeholders about. So I want to give you just a couple highlights of what you can expect next week on Tuesday and Wednesday of fall conference. And so nothing to stress about. Your program leaders will lead you through this process. But on Tuesday afternoon, what we've promised all the 8 program areas is time to finalize your team action plans. So those are the outcomes, the indicators, the deliverables that your program area teams have decided to pursue in 2023 and beyond. So that's going to be the first priority. Another opportunity that afternoon is for your focus area team. So these are the smaller groups, right? So within rural prosperity Nebraska, focus area teams would be things like people attraction, placemaking, leadership, regional food systems. Within 4-H, it would be, it could be careers, it could be STEM, it could be leadership. So each program area has these smaller groups working on in specific focus areas. So there may also be time with your group to really drill down with your focus area team to think about specifics around programming in 2023, which is going to be helpful as we move into day 2. You'll find out in just a moment. At the end of Tuesday afternoon, we're going to take some time and ask each of those 8 program areas to share just a glimpse, some highlights of their team action plan. So they'll each have about 5 minutes to share with you the highlights. So these are the outcomes that we're about in 2023. These are the examples of some of our indicators that we're working towards. And here's also examples or samples of deliverables that will actually help us actualize our indicators and outcomes. So I didn't get it in the slide deck, so maybe you can put it in the chat box, Angie. So we do have draft team plans available for you to take a look at prior to arriving at fall conference. And this is just to familiarize yourself what the drafts look like. They will all likely change at least a little at fall conference as you all polish them off. But please go to this link. I think maybe we have 1 or 2 still coming in, but before fall conference, they'll all be up there. You'll have a chance to peruse those. And the reason you want to peruse those, one of the major reasons is you might find, and I hope you find, that you may not only be working in your program area in 2023, but you might choose to cross over and also contribute to another program area, right? In some type of multidisciplinary effort. So that's why we'd like you just to be aware of what the other team plans look like. So you'll be getting more information from your respective program leaders on what the agenda looks like for that Tuesday afternoon. This as well as things as your focus teams are working that afternoon, as you're drilling down into plans for 2023 and beyond. Now, this is the program model that we shared earlier, I think this calendar year. These are some things to be thinking about that tie right into some conversations you've already been having, but I'd ask that you just don't decide that you're going to plug everything we've done before in Nebraska Extension into your new plans as you think about deliverables. So think about all of these types of things, right? How can we make it better? Should we continue to do it or not? Have we evaluated it? What's the impact? How are we delivering it? Just walk through these 6 steps with your programs as you're having those finer conversations about your programming to make sure that we are the very best we can be in delivering our extension programs. So Wednesday morning, we transition from the team action plans to individual action plans. And so we'll lay out a process early that morning as you arrive, sharing what that looks like. This will be time for you to just take in everything you've learned from these teams, the team plans, what you've heard the day before in the report outs, and start drafting your individual plan. And while you're doing that, I think we have an hour or so reserved for this. While you're doing that, your program leaders, your engagement zone coordinators, the extension leadership team will be floating, around the facility in the rooms that you're working in to help you start standing up, framing up what your individual action plan looks like for 2023. And while we're doing that, as we wrap up that session, we'll also talk about how you will submit that action plan and how it will tie in with your activity insight annual report that's due in January 17, I believe. So we're going to lay all that out for you on Wednesday morning. You're not going to finish your plans Wednesday morning. You're going to have a month or two to work on those, but you'll get a really good start, right? And most of all, I think all the extension leadership team would agree on this, and that is this is a year of transition in program planning process. So a lot of grace and space in what these team plans look like, what your individual plans look like. But we do want you and your teams to be clear about what you're going to focus on in 2023, right? And obviously we want our work to be the type of work that we can evaluate, assess, and of course, report to the impacts to stakeholders. So that's a high level view of Fall Conference. It's really going to be a working conference. So looking forward to that. We are going to ask that you bring an electronic device with you. You'll probably need that on this day especially. So a phone, an iPad, a computer will be a helpful thing to have with you. Speaking of activity insight training, there are a couple opportunities coming up. So Rich Bischoff is doing some overarching INR activity insight training very soon here. This is more nuts and bolts of how the activity insight platform works. But what we're really going to dive into what it looks like for extension professionals is on December 8th. So I highly encourage you to try to make that training session. It will be recorded. We'll share the slide decks out afterwards. But this is when we'll have specific examples of how folks with extension appointments, how we'd like you to think about your activity insight report. I'm going to take just a break here and check the chat box and see if we have any burning questions. All right, so there's a question around, I think of 3 cross-cutting teams. All right, so one is disaster education and coordination, so our Nebraska Eden team. Another one would be the Reaching All group. Another would be Global Extension. That's a group that John Porter is leading. So thinking about those 3 as examples of cross-cutting program areas. So we're not going to focus on those during Fall Conference, but all 3 of those teams are working on team plans, very simple, straightforward team plans, parallel to the work that we're doing in the eight program areas that we just discussed. So I would expect sometime after Fall Conference, those will be shared. And at some point before you submit your final plans for 2023, you'll have a chance to actually go perhaps pick some outcomes or indicators from those plans that you also plan to include in your individual plan. So more to come on that, but more of that will be after the conference versus during the conference. All right, so there's always business, right, in the organization. So I'm going to turn now to Ruby. And let's see, yep, Ruby and Pat. Ruby Urban, Pat Neben, Greater Nebraska Business Center. I'll just move the slides along as you need me to. So welcome.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Appreciate being invited. So go ahead and move the slide. We'll just keep on moving. Just wanted to provide a few updates. I want to talk about procurement. I am sure around the state, we have heard, it's not just the state, it's the university is going to its one procurement, and there are several delays when we're trying to pay invoices. So I know part of it is attrition of staff, and we are bringing some of those to the attention of the director of procurement. We are having even challenges with, getting disconnect notices, and, we really need to figure out a way, hopefully the university will pay our vendors in a timely manner. But we are letting them know the business center is doing the best we can to process things as soon as we can. What I want to encourage people to do is use your P card if you can. I mean, that again will get the payment to whatever you're buying. And if there's some cases where we have that below 5,000 and we feel that we need to get something paid sooner, contact your business center contact and see if we can help you navigate that, because our relationships with the vendors are so critical out in our communities, and we want to do what we can to help them, and also kind of keep our business flowing and not being turned down. So I want to bring that up today. Software purchases, it just is a reminder, if you are purchasing some for your program, please reach out to your audit team or procurement, because we need to ensure for security, accessibility, that these type of things are reviewed before we make purchasing decisions. So I wanted to bring that up to you. There is a link here that you can go later on that'll go in depth. I had talked with procurement. There's some old language there, but I was told by the director it is very important yet for a lot of the main points on that. So you may want to look in that if you're considering some new programs for your software. Amazon business account, for some people who don't know, if you have a P card, you are eligible to have a Amazon business account. This way you can keep that separate, and it also will have a sales tax exempt. And if you have any questions and are interested, please send an email to your EZ mailbox, and someone on our team will get back to you if you don't have that feature or have had challenges trying to set that up. So Dave, with that, I'm going to turn it to next and let it go to Pat.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We're getting ready to wind down for our end of the year sales tax. Sales tax for the state of Nebraska is done on a calendar year, not a fiscal year. So that's a little bit confusing sometimes when I send out reports. I say first, second, third, fourth quarter, but we are trying to stay on track with it. I sent out notices just about 2 weeks ago for the second and third quarter because I was behind on second quarter notices. I need everybody to really look those over and make sure that what I have sent out that we see on our SAP reports coincides with what you have in your shadow account. That way, at the end of the year, we are not bogged down with moving tax dollars or something, a sales tax in that form. We want to make sure we're on top of it as we go along. What you see here is the fourth quarter sales tax review will begin shortly after December 9th. We will send a report out asking you to look for anything from October 1st through December 9th. And then at the end of December, we'll start the report of the final one for everything. And the problem being is once we get back after holiday shutdown, we have got to have these reports ready by the 15th of January for the bursar's office to be able to pay those taxes. So it's a short turnaround. We really have to be able to get it all taken care of. And so we don't want to find out we've got some mistakes in there that we're having to take care of before then. So next slide. Just a little bit, we will have some deadlines coming up also for deposits and everything. As soon as the bursar's office sends us out our notification of deadline dates, we will put that out to everybody in early December so that we know when our last deadline, our deposits can be done for holiday shutdown. Anybody has any questions on that, please reach out to us. We'll gladly explain it. I know the new people in the offices may not understand some of those deadlines that we'll have for the end of the fiscal year, or the end of the calendar year, excuse me, but we do have to make sure that we have everything deposited just for that sales tax at the end of the year. So, and Ruby, I'll let you do the pre-award planning.
Yes, thanks, Pat. Yes, just pre-award planning, reminding to everybody, it is a short December when we have to get our proposals in. So anything you can do to be proactive to make sure you make these deadlines. Hopefully most of you have had a chance. And if not, you'll get the chance next week because Alicia will be joining us at Fall Conference. And so she's our lead on the pre-award. So you have an opportunity to meet her if you haven't done so yet. But this is also her first year to do this. So anything we can do to help her be proactive in helping us meet some of these external funding deadlines on our commodity, along with other grants, please do help us with that. So with that, Dave, I'm ready for the next slide. During our front door forum, and I think before that, we had talked about, we had sent out an email about our new engagement zone group mailbox guide. If you haven't had a chance, and I think I could see there's impact when you look at our inboxes, we are sending in our subject lines and we're doing what we need to do. It's really, really helpful to us. But if you haven't, it's up there on our financial management website. The second thing I really want to talk about today is during Front Door Forum, we introduced our new updated financial reference guide. It's gone from 20 pages to 35 pages, but within that, we've built a lot of information that if you haven't had a chance to review it yourself or with your office teams, this is some really good stuff. It's going to talk about your Board of Regents policies, your contracts, who can sign what. Sometimes we have questions, is this an employee relationship or an independent contractor? It talks about our segregation of duties, which I think is really critical as we're trying to make sure that we're leaving risk. We want to protect our people and make sure we have the right processes in a workflow environment there. So again, encourage each of you, and maybe it's a challenge to each of you to find some time in your office meetings and if sit down and talk about this. Hoping to really supplement this with, there's always more. Every time you do something, there's more details. And I want to work up more of those more detailed stuff, but it's really hard to cover all the things that we do in one document. But again, please take time to do this and challenge yourself, hopefully by the end of the year, to do a review of the information. Dave, next screen.
Yeah, hey, Ruby, just before we move on, so I want to remind the group again, where do they find this information?
It's on your Nebraska Extension Employee Resources website. And if you go to Unit Management, and then I think it's Financial Management, and then we'll have all kind of resources there. And beyond these, there's also the GNBC staffing. It's even how do you deal with a return check. There's different forms. So there's so many new employees in your offices. Please do visit that. Thanks, Dave. Mm-hmm. And to end with here, just Front Door Forum, and for Pat and myself, thanks to all the attendees who came. I think we had about 27. It was hard because of that. When you have a breakout session, we couldn't get to everybody. And that's why for those who hadn't had a chance to see and experience our new handouts, our new guide, please go there. We look forward to seeing everybody again next year. And then Fall Conference. Wanted to let you know, as I had just mentioned, our pre-award, Alicia will be there. Our post-award team are planning to come. We've got Nancy Chapek. We have Angie Moore, who is new. We've got Stephanie Cole's going to come, Pat. We're going to also bring Chandra Hawley. She took Angie Moore's position with us to serve our county financial coordinator for our finances in zones 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. I don't know if I get them all right there, but anyway, she'll be with us, and along with myself, I plan on coming. So please come by and talk with us. It is all about I think Dr. Charlie mentioned the we. We're part of your team. We're the Greater Nebraska Business Center, and we look forward to get to know you. And please bring your questions or everything else. So with that, Pat, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything else right now. See everybody next week.
Okay, thank you, and thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, Ruby, Pat, and the whole GNBC team. We really appreciate you. All right, we're going to take, every once in a while, we'll do a program highlight. And this month, we're going to focus on We Care for Kids. So Kara's with us with this program, and this will be aligned with our early childhood program area. Kara, we're excited to have you with us today. Would you just give your a short introduction to the group, and then I'll just move the slides along. through your presentation. This is something that whether you're programming in this area or thinking about your own family might apply.
Perfect. Thank you, Dave. Hi, everyone. My name is Kara Fike. I am the campaign manager for We Care for Kids. The Spanish campaign name is Por Todos los Niños. And so I'm really happy to be here. Nebraska. So I would love just to go through a brief campaign overview and some ways to get involved. So We Care for Kids is a partnership of many diverse state and community-based organizations throughout Nebraska with the goal to build support for quality early childhood education here in our state. Next slide. Perfect. And we know quality early childhood education is a game changer for children, families, communities, and our state. So unfortunately, Nebraska is at risk of falling behind. Families are struggling to find childcare as demand exceeds supply. We know early childhood educators are leaving the field, and Nebraskans agree that early childhood education is important, but they don't see it as a top priority. So we want to build greater appreciation. Next slide. Great. And we need everyone's help to make early childhood care and education available to families across Nebraska. We want to build a unified understanding of quality early childhood education, bring early childhood educators to the center of both quality and the system by amplifying and sharing their stories. We want to help connect families to great resources and communicate that all families should have access to quality early childhood education. And of course, add value to Nebraska's existing network and efforts like Nebraska Extension that are supporting early childhood education. Next slide. Great. And we can accomplish more when we work together. So we want everyone to consider We Care for Kids as a resource to include in what you're already doing to support communities and families. So if you see an early childhood educator, asking them to share their stories with us. We can direct families to resources. So if you're at an event, sharing information about We Care for Kids is a great start. And then consider why early childhood education is important to those in your network, and reach out to us if you have ideas or events that you would like to partner with the campaign on. Next slide. Great. And so first and foremost, We Care for Kids is a grassroots campaign. So partnership is and community outreach is really important. Let's go to the next slide there. The campaign website is available in English at nebraskacaresforkids.org and also in Spanish at portodoslosninos.org. So Spanish translation is a part of all the campaign's work on the print materials and the media that's going out across the state. And so on the website, you will find resources for families, a really excellent community toolkit that's updated regularly, and then of course that place for early childhood educators to go to share their stories with us. And I want to take a minute and just share briefly about We Care for Kids Days. So We Care for Kids Days are regular monthly celebrations recognizing the importance of quality early childhood education in Nebraska. Each month will have a slightly different focus to emphasize that all members of our community can support early childhood education. Next month, we will actually be reaching out to agricultural and farming communities and are looking forward to partnering with Nebraska Extension in a variety of ways to share about the importance of quality early childhood education. So I encourage you all to visit the event page at nebraskacaresforkids.org/events for more information. And on the next slide, Dave, there is a list of ideas to participate with the campaign. This can be during We Care for Kids Days or really at any time that works. We are just so happy to partner with you all and amplify the work that you are doing. So on the next slide is my contact information. Please reach out to me anytime if you have ideas or events. Definitely, this is a partnership opportunity, so I'm happy to hear from anyone that reaches out. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kara. What a nice overview of this program. This, as you heard Kara talk, there's just a lot of connectivity here, right? I think she alluded to at least four of our 8 program areas. She used the word amplify as we think about engagement opportunities to connect Nebraskans with the resources, organizations, people they need to be connected with to excel. This is a good example of a player that we want to be in lockstep with. So Kara, if you could just stick around and watch the chat box to see if there are any questions around this program, please do put them in the chat box or contact Kara directly at the information noted on the screen. And Kara, you might just want to put that in the chat box too, if you can, and that way folks can follow up with you. All right, a few more things as we wrap up our huddle time today. So a lot of deadlines, right? Year end. So these are all in the calendar of events at the very end of the slide deck here. But for those of you who have, and I'll just go ahead one slide. So the Extension Advisory Committee is made up of these 15 seats, if you will, on the committee, and you can kind of see what the rotation looks like over time. So if you look at the 2023 year, of those particular positions are up for renewal this year. And so if that's a group that you're associated with, whether it's a role or a program area or a geographic location in the state, you have just received a nomination ballot from Linda Temple and I just a couple of days ago. So the way this process works is you can nominate someone from the group that in that email to be considered for this position. And once we have the nominations in place, we'll send another email out to all of you involved in December for the actual election. So just want you to know that every year about a third or so of this particular committee turns over, and you decide who serves on the Dean's Advisory Committee. So again, this only affects you if you're in one of those groups who has a seat that's vacating in 2023. And those nominations are due on the 21st, so right after Fall Conference Week. Something else due on the 21st, many of you are familiar with the North Central National Extension Leadership Development Program, often referred to as NELD. So this is a pretty phenomenal leadership program. It requires about 3 weeks of commitment during calendar year 2023. It includes traveling to places like San Antonio, Colorado, Washington, D.C. You have a chance to connect with other educators or specialists from other states in the north central part of the U.S., the North Central Extension region, and just to learn about how you can grow your leadership capacity. So there is a email that was sent out about this again earlier this week from me to educators and specialists. It's faculty members are eligible for this opportunity. And so if you're interested, you have a chance to apply, just a brief application as to why you would be interested in this opportunity. The dates, the time commitment is noted in that email. You want to be sure that you can commit to that if you're applying, and because this is quite an investment. This is something typically we might send as many as 5 individuals to this training. This year, as part of our ongoing budget reduction processes, we're going to only send 2. And that's just one other example of how we're collectively looking at strategies to address our budget reduction challenge, but also in this case, keep that leadership capacity building within the system. Also wanted to remind you that the Extension Educator Department Affiliate Program, those applications are open year-round. This opportunity officially opened in October. You'll remember that these are some of the opportunities in the affiliate program. There are 5 departments within INR who are currently participating. There are 5 pilots, so agronomy and horticulture, animal science, entomology, plant pathology, and biological systems engineering. And so if you go to the My Extension website, or this is that employee resources part of the Nebraska Extension website that Ruby mentioned earlier, the bottom of the screen, there's a guidance document for the overarching program. There's an application that you can fill out electronically, and you can download a flyer for more information. So I highly encourage you to explore this. One of the neatest things about the applications that have arrived so far is it's not always, the educators are not always applying in the department that perhaps they have their academic credentials in. They're crossing over into other units, academic units, because they see their work as multidisciplinary, and they want to learn more from other academic areas. And so each department is also working on a document, more specifics about what this opportunity looks like for them, which will be available for you if you decide to explore this further. So do apply. You can do that anytime, but we'd love to get a nice cohort started here for 2023 as we begin this pilot. Question about the turnaround time on the affiliate program applications. You know, it could be upwards to a month. It's because it depends on the unit and what their process is, but in some cases, the extension committee or various groups are meeting within the units to review those applications. And so I'd give it about 30 days or so. And if you haven't heard anything, if you just circle back to me and let me know, you'll know when you've been officially accepted. You'll receive a letter from the extension dean's office that confirms that. And so we probably have 2 or 3 of those. They'll probably be going out in the next week or so. So we're just getting to that part of the process. So encourage you to explore this. Also want to remind you that the Rural Fellowship Program, this is a part of Rural Prosperity, Nebraska. This is a very structured internship program for college students to receive a real life experience around community engagement, inclusive leadership. How do you learn to work and lead in rural Nebraska? And so this is a great opportunity. It requires that the community is interested. And then we have 2 or 3 students that join that committee for a few weeks in the summer. It also includes a ramp up time in the summer to get ready for that experience. And so I'm going to share with you a brief video that just helps you get a better handle on what this program is all about.
Valeria Rodriguez, and I am the co-founder and part-time executive director for Empowering Families.
My name is Megan Weaver, and I'm the Economic Development Director with Wakefield Progressive.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Harrion, Executive Director of Box Butte Development Corporation.
Having the Rural Fellow program here and Grace and all the work that she did has just been a tremendous asset for our organizations.
Our Rural Fellows work will create long-term impact in the Northwest Nebraska region as a whole.
The impact of the students helps create partnerships in the community.
So the impact on our community, the Gearing community, and the immediate area of what Esther and Lauren have done is basically going to set the roadmap for us moving forward on what the next steps are for our downtown development.
With tourism being a major economic driver here in Scottsbluff County, the impact that both Ben and Ashton made is very, very big.
It has just been an excellent opportunity, I hope, for them, and we're super grateful to get some outside perspective, young perspective on our community and how we can make it better.
This experience helped me become a more inclusive community leader by giving me the opportunity to learn from 2 rural fellows from different backgrounds and learning more through the academy about my own strengths.
The work that these interns did here at Scottsbluff National Monument, part of our Gearing Scottsbluff community, is very valuable to us.
From the organizational standpoint, they have been able to provide a little structure to our organization and breathe new life into what we do.
What I've learned, it's helped me understand how to approach people, bring them together with the ideas, and it's really going to be useful going forward too for helping bring the community together as a whole.
We really fell in love with them during their time here.
We consider them our family. I hope they consider us their family.
We very much appreciate what's happened and looking forward to see where this goes in the future.
So you can go to the Rural Prosperity Nebraska website to learn more about this. All the applications are up there, lots of testimonials from previous fellows. So when we say fellows, just to be clear, rural fellows, there's really two, right? So there's student fellows, you heard from them, some of them. So that's where we have 2 to 3 grouped in a community added together for that experience during the summer. So they're not alone, they're with a group of other students doing this. And then there's the community fellows. That's the community that is sponsoring them in this community. And then there is some cost share funding available for communities to sponsor. So please reach out to the Rural Fellows Program. Helen Fagan or Daryl King are both contacts, and their contact information is on the RPN website. So these are some of the things that Rural Fellows do, focus on everything from housing to quality of life to, I think, early childhood development care in one community or a couple, economic development, marketing the community, Main Street business initiatives, you name it. This is a huge opportunity for Extension to partner with rural communities across the state. So please explore it. Those, and by the way, those applications are due the end of this month. At least the community needs to start the application by the end of this month, and then the Rural Prosperity team will work with that community to complete the application by the end of December. Before I move on to the NACEB, there was a question about how many years should you be in extension? I'm not sure if that question applied to the NELD or the Extension Department Affiliate Program, but I'll answer it for both. For the Extension Educator Department Affiliate Program, really doesn't matter where you are in your career. We would invite both new and veteran educators to explore that affiliate program with their academic units. So there's no years of experience requirement for the Department Affiliate Program. For the NELD program, different story. We love applicants to have 5 years of experience, at least 3 before applying, just so you have a good handle on Nebraska Extension work. You have some extension experiences that you can use to relate to that leadership experience. Those details are actually in the email note that I shared earlier in the week. So look at that for more information. And then want to share, as we wind up here, for NACEB, this is our Nebraska Association of County Extension Boards. They have a number of awards that they offer up to support staff in our local extension offices, to advocates for Nebraska Extension across the state, volunteers, businesses. This could be media. Could be local businesses that are supporting your extension programs, and the Friend of Extension Award, which is for an elected official that has gone out of their way to be especially supportive and helpful and advocate for Nebraska Extension. So these nominations are due December 2nd. The nice thing about all of these nominations is they are very quick and easy. So I encourage you to find one of these categories and nominate someone in your region for this award. These will be awarded during the NACEB conference, the legislative conference, which will be in Lincoln on February 8th. So a few reminders, and I'll jump over to the chat box. So here are the dates, next week's dates, right? And then some of the NELD application, advisory committee nominations, NACEB awards are due. And then the Rural Fellows Activity Insight Training in December. And someone had asked about a link for that. I don't think we've set a link for it. If we haven't, we'll get that Zoom link out to all extension professionals here very soon, so you can put that on your calendar. Activity Insight reports are due on January 17th, a couple months away, but it's going to come fast. And then remember to have Amplify conference on your calendars for late February. There's a question relative to the Department Affiliate program. So it is limited to the 5 departments that I mentioned earlier. So this is just a pilot effort. As we visited with the INR unit heads, probably been a year or so ago now, they wanted to move forward on a pilot basis versus all units jumping in at once. So it does not include at the moment any of the CEHS units, and it does not include all of the IANR units. But again, it's agronomy and horticulture, animal science, plant pathology, entomology, and biological systems engineering. Those are the 5 opportunities currently. All right, I'm going to hold on here for a moment to see if there are any other questions. Yeah, that's right. So I would anticipate if this all goes well and is planned, that there'll be other units. We've already had inquiries from other units who are interested in pursuing the department affiliate programs. So we're going to be meeting with the unit heads or their representatives of these 5 units. Over the next 6-9 months, I expect to see how this is working out. And then at some point, we'll make a decision as to what the path forward looks like. One of the things we encourage you to do if you're applying for the department affiliate program, again, it's only open to educators. Do get the support letter. It can just be a simple email from your EZC, from your program leader, and attach those to your application. That will just help expedite the process. All right, next time we meet will not be January 12th, 2022. Hopefully it's 2023 by then. So we'll see you in a huddle in a couple of months, but really looking forward to seeing all of you next week at Fall Conference. So get ready for a special week, a fun week out in Kearney. So have a great day, everyone.